Hey, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be reviewing Singapore Airlines first class on board the Boeing 777-300 from Singapore Changi Airport to Jakarta Soekarno-Hatta Airport on my recent flight in July 2025. I'm going to be reviewing the lounge beforehand, including the overall experience at Singapore Changi Airport, and then once I get on the plane, I'm going to review the seat, the amenities, the food and drink, the facilities, and the arrival into Jakarta Soekarno-Hatta Airport. Our flight today clocks in at just over 900 kilometers and barely 1 hour in the sky, making it the shortest route that Singapore Airlines operates its first-class cabin. I begin my journey today by car to the airport. I usually take the train, but today I was feeling a bit lazy. Still, it doesn't take that long. Thankfully, Singapore has built what's effectively a purpose-built road going direct to the airport, so from the central business district to the airport takes only about 20 minutes maximum, 15 if the drive is quick. I arrived today into Changi Airport Terminal 3. Now, my flight is actually departing from Terminal 2, but as I've mentioned numerous times in my previous videos, the lounges are far better in Terminal 3, and you can check in here and then catch the SkyTrain across once you're through security. Singapore Airlines has its own dedicated first-class check-in area at Terminal 3. I didn't actually take any footage in here because I was a little bit self-conscious taking the video, but upon coming out, you are directed straight to a fast-track immigration, solely for Singapore Airlines first-class passengers. Speed-wise, this is no quicker than the regular immigration, because Changi Airport is always lightning fast. The main advantage is that it brings you out here, directly opposite the Singapore Airlines lounges. 20 meters to the right after immigration, you will see this escalator. Head up, hand your boarding pass to the lounge attendant, and you will be directed to the private room. The private room is Singapore Airlines' lounge solely for use by ticketed first-class passengers. No amount of status or flying on a partner airline will get you here, and as you can see, it's incredibly quiet and private. I've reviewed this lounge many times before and even made a separate video which is linked at the end of this one, so check it out. I won't spend too much time on it in this video. Having briefly visited the lounge, it was time to make my way to Terminal 2 to catch my flight. As I mentioned earlier, there's actually a SkyTrain after security that will take you between terminals. This arrives approximately every 5 minutes, and the journey itself only takes 2 minutes, meaning you need to budget no more than about 8 minutes to get between terminals. The train is incredibly smooth and literally only takes 2 minutes, so before I knew it, I was pulling in to Terminal 2. My flight today was departing from gate F54, which is approximately a 3 to 4 minute walk from where you get off the SkyTrain. Boarding had already commenced when I arrived, but before I got on board, I took a very quick shot of the Boeing 777-300ER, which was going to take us today to Jakarta. What an impressive plane. I boarded pretty much straight away and made my way to my seat. Today, I am sat in seat 1A, right at the front of the plane. As you can see here, it's an incredibly wide seat, probably the widest seat I've ever seen. There were other passengers in the cabin, so I couldn't take too much footage around. However, the Singapore Airlines website has a virtual walkthrough. It's currently limited to the Boeing 777-300, but that's exactly what we're on today. So let's take a look around. As you can see, the seats are laid out in a 1-2-1 configuration, and there is only one row of first class, meaning you will have a maximum of 4 passengers here today, assuming every seat is fully booked. As I mentioned earlier, the seats are incredibly wide and come with a large widescreen television. Seriously, you could fit another person in the seat next to you, if that person happens to be a little bit small. This is not the latest and greatest version of Singapore Airlines First Class, which is their suites product, but it's still a damn good version. One interesting design feature is that this cabin features no overhead bins. This creates a much more open and airy feeling, and instead there is plenty of room to store your hand luggage in a compartment underneath the seat in front of you. This shot here is the real life version, showing the 1-2-1 single row layout. About 25 minutes after boarding, we began our pushback from the gate, and the airline began playing its iconic safety video.
Bring the two ends of the seat belt together until you hear a click. Tighten it by pulling on the strap. To unfasten, lift the metal flap. We recommend keeping your seat belt fastened throughout the flight. Whenever the seat belt sign is turned on, infants should be lifted from the bed. We hope you have a great time on board as well as in Singapore or anywhere else in the world we take you.
Hey, if you're enjoying the video so far, please subscribe. The headphones in first class are branded and are by the company Bang & Olufsen. They are extremely comfortable and very high quality, an absolute pleasure to use for the duration of a flight. I was pleased to see that post-COVID, Singapore Airlines has returned to paper menus, which I will be scanning in my videos going forwards instead of taking a video. Please let me know in the comments if you prefer this. As you can see here, Singapore Airlines is doing a special National Day menu celebrating Singapore's 60th anniversary. I'll review this later on in the video. Despite the flight being barely over an hour, a full bar is offered, including not one, not two, but 3 vintage champagnes, as well as numerous white wines and red wines, and also a fortified wine. There is also an extensive cocktail menu which is made to order, and numerous high-end spirits, including XO Cognac and Johnny Walker Blue Label Whiskey. If alcohol's not your cup of tea, this flight has you covered, with numerous mocktails, soft drinks, and juices available. For your caffeine hit, there's a wide variety of coffees you can choose from, including Jamaica Blue Mountain, which is a very high-end brand. And for tea, you have a choice of either TWG or Singapore Airlines' own in-house tea selection. For a 1-hour flight, the choice of drinks available blew me away. The taxi to the runway took approximately 15 minutes, which is slightly above average. As we approached runway, I got a cool shot of a flight ahead of us landing. Anyway, time for takeoff, which based on recent feedback, I won't be speeding up. Again, please let me know in the comments if you prefer this. An extremely smooth takeoff, and once we were airborne, I was able to take these lovely shots of the Indonesian islands below. Due to the extremely short nature of the flight, the crew sprang into action once the seatbelt signs were turned off and began the food service. Our starter today was smoked salmon with caviar. This isn't the full caviar service you would normally get on a Singapore Airlines first-class flight, but that's understandable given the length. And, despite it being simple, this was extremely well done, and came with 2 slices of Singapore Airlines signature garlic bread, which I maintain is the best in the sky. I was also super impressed to see this being served course by course. I'll be honest, if they'd have just served me this, the salmon and the caviar, with that garlic bread on a plate, I would have been more than happy. For my main course, I went for the Wagyu steak tenderloin. This, impressively, was cooked to about a medium, which wasn't overcooked given the nature of the meat. It came with a creamy polenta side and was absolutely delicious. Seriously, to receive a steak of this quality on a 1-hour flight? Absolutely mind-blowing. Well done, Singapore Airlines. Dessert was the National Day-inspired pandan cake. Maybe I'm biased because I particularly enjoy pandan, and some of you might prefer chocolate, but I loved this. It had a great, subtle pandan flavour and tasted not too sweet. Overall, a great way to round out the meal. Having finished my meal, I went to the toilet to check them out, and saw that they were nicely appointed with flowers and were plenty large enough to move around. The toiletries were provided by the company Lalique, and you also had an eau de toilette, which smelled particularly good. I always put this on when I fly Singapore Airlines first class. The toilets definitely had a premium feel to them, and were absolutely spotlessly clean. Although that wasn't too difficult, given there were only 2 toilets for 4 passengers. A separate amenity tray is provided, with everything you could possibly need. Toothbrushes, shavers, shaving foam. Very generous. Whilst I was in the toilet, the captain came on the intercom to let us know we were already beginning our descent into Jakarta. This seriously is a very short flight, and the crew did an amazing job to fit in such a full service. As you can see here, we had only 9 minutes left to go. Shortly after I took this clip, the Jakarta skyline came into view below. As before, I'm not going to be speeding up this landing, so you can see it in full. Reasonably smooth landing, and the taxi to the gate took about 10 minutes, and as I was in seat 1A, I was the very first passenger to deplane. We arrived into Jakarta Airport Terminal 3, which is their newest and most modern terminal. After a short walk to immigration, in which I was able to use the electronic immigration gates, which meant I was through in about 2 minutes, I was in the baggage area waiting for my bag to come out. I've got to say, this looks incredible and is a really good first impression to the country. Jakarta has done a wonderful job with their baggage reclaim area. In no time at all, I was in my car heading to the hotel, which, in typical Jakarta style, meant insane traffic. But that's not Singapore Airlines' fault. That's very much a rush hour Jakarta thing. Overall, I'm going to rate this flight a strong 5 out of 5. Really, I'd give it 6 out of 5 if I could. At the start of your journey, the dedicated first class section at Changi Airport is a joy to use, and once you get into the lounge, it is honestly one of the best lounges in the airport, if not the best. Don't forget to check out my video reviewing it in full. Once you get on the plane, the seat is incredible. They fly this exact same seat to London, which is a 14-hour flight, so to have it on a 1-hour hop to Jakarta, brilliant. And that's not to mention the food and the drink. Really? Smoked salmon with caviar, Wagyu fillet steak, 3 courses served course by course, on a 1-hour flight? On a lot of other airlines, particularly Western ones, you'd be lucky to get anything on a 1-hour flight, or if you did, it would just be a sandwich. So to have food of this quality served course at a time, absolutely unbelievable. I would go as far as to say that short of taking a private jet, this is the best way you can travel between Singapore and Jakarta. Hands down, no exceptions. This is number 1. Now, you might say that first class is not needed for a 1-hour flight, and you would be absolutely correct. I couldn't agree with you more. This is not needed, it is pure luxury, it is pure indulgence. But if you have cash or miles to burn, it's a great treat and a nice way to experience Singapore Airlines' first class product, even if it's only for an hour.